step number one, which is kind of a counterintuitive step, which is think small to get big. Think small to get big. When you talk about thought leadership, the first thing that happens is people say, okay, yeah, I want to be a thought leader on like all of social media. Can you help me do that? Right? Well, we can. There's a path to do that. That's kind of a big task, right? So people want to say big. They say, okay, I want my company, I want to be a thought leader on all of like consumer marketing. Can we do it? Absolutely. Absolutely you could do it. But taking the big approach is a slow approach. Why? There's a lot of competing for that space. So instead, can we find spaces that we can claim and win easily and use that to expand upon how we're perceived and what our brand represents. So let me give you a story to explain this. How many people, it's kind of an old story, but how many people recognize this guy or have ever seen this before? One, it's there. Maybe a two or a slight nose scratch from outside. Okay, so this is Kyle McDonald, and this is his red paperclip. So what Kyle realized is he played as a child a game called Bigger and Better. Does anyone know what Bigger and Better is? It was a game where you played where you would make a series of trades to get something better than you had before, right? So you're like, okay, I have this microphone, Hubert, will you trade me a camera for my microphone? And if we could both make that trade, we would get bigger and better. So he had an idea, Kyle McDonald, which was, what if he could use Craigslist to trade this one big red paper clip he had in a series of trades to own a house? Okay? So can he make a series of trades starting with this red paper clip to eventually, one day in the not too distant future, own a house? Okay? So he started. So this is a series of trades that he made. One, he posted that red paperclip on Craigslist. He traded it for a pen shaped like a fish. He took that pen shaped like a fish, he traded it for a doorknob that was kind of like a creepy looking ET. He took that doorknob and traded it for a Coleman generator, a Coleman stove, which he traded for an electric generator, which he traded for a Budweiser sign and a keg of beer, which he traded for an old snowmobile, which he traded for a ski trip to Yacht, I suppose, which is in Canada somewhere, which he traded in turn for a used big van, which he traded for, I think it was a studio recording time and the opportunity to pitch someone at Sony Music with your song, which he traded for a year's worth of rent at an apartment in Phoenix, Arizona, which he traded for performing in concert with Alice Cooper on stage, which then he traded for a collectible Kiss globe, which was rare and really, really valuable, which he happened to know was valued by Corbin Burnson, who was an actor, who agreed to write a spoken word part in his movie for whoever gave him the snow globe, because he's a snow globe collector, which then was traded for a house in Kipling, Saskatchewan. Okay? There you go. So he took something that wasn't perceived to have much value, a red paper clip, and through a series of trades, through a series of expanding the value of what he had, actually ended up with something of like incredible value. So what I would suggest to you is this idea of think small to get big. It starts with building on your core expertise, your core area as a thought leader, whatever you have now. And that may be from the job that you work at, that may be from your side project, that may be from the blog you write, whatever it is. And find little ways to trade that and expand what you do in surprising ways that apply it to new areas. And when you do that, it seems like a little trade. It seems like, okay, I traded the red paperclip for a fish pen. But through a series of trades that reposition you, that's how you all of a sudden have something of great value. And if you would do this for a house, might you do this for your expertise, your experience, and it can be traded in much the same way. So look for small ways to trade your existing expertise for a new set of experiences. So how can you apply what you know now? Hubert works at PR Hacker. He's a great videographer. How can he take those videography skills and apply them in a new way to something else that expands it just a little bit? And then once he's expanded that just a little bit, maybe he does some stuff with, I don't know, VR or something like that, then how does he take that and expand that a little bit? How can he use that to accelerate his thought leadership process? So let me give you some ways on how to think small. One, ask yourself, what's happening right here? So what's happening in San Francisco, in Silicon Valley, in the Bay Area? What's happening right here? Also, what's happening right now? What are people talking about? What's trending? How can I be part of that conversation that's happening now? And finally, what resources can I access? Do I have unusual access to resources because I know someone? I have a friend. I have some resources through my job. I have a certain contact, whatever it might be. And here's how practically this works. So we decided as a firm that we wanted to go into politics as a discipline, that we could help with some causes and campaigns. We're good at creating, viral ideas that spread. One of the funny things about us is we're the PR agency for 18 different dog and cat brands. So brands like Milk-Bone and Meow Mix and Pepperoni, we help make and spread a lot of those dog and cat videos that you see online. So we thought, okay, we can do this for Morris the cat. Could we do this for political candidates as well? Right? Only one issue. Right? Okay, we're not necessarily a firm that necessarily has a ton of people that has super deep political experience. We know our skills would work in that. So how do we translate what we do and become a thought leader for viral marketing and politics? And in fact, we want to coin a new term and claim that term, which is viral politics. How can we do that? So we start asking ourselves questions. We say, okay, what's happening right here? Well, we know we're in the Bay Area. We're based here. It's the social media capital. Facebook, Twitter, other companies got their start here. We're sort of perceived because we're a Bay Area. We have a lot of tech clients from Y Combinator, 500 stars. We're perceived as kind of knowing social media, okay? So we start with that. Now also, what's happening right now? Well, this is, I'm kind of sort of saying we were working on this over the summer. We're saying the 2000 election's in full swing. This is the single story, and particularly the presidential election, that's dominating the news right now. Is there some way for us to leverage that right away to expand our thought leadership? And finally, what resources I can access? Well, at PR Hacker, we have 15 plus different media monitoring tools or social media and mass media that we've either built or bought or sort of hacked together. So we have the ability to see what's going on. How can we use that to move into this new area of viral marketing politics? So we put these three things together, and this is how you quickly move it into a new field and establish yourself as an expert. So this is the pitch that we sent out. And to Megna's point, you didn't have to write a book like before on viral marketing and politics. You didn't have to do that. We're like, okay, if we can get established brands, big media outlets to recognize us as a leader, wouldn't everyone then recognize us as well? Is there a halo effect that we could get? So this is the pitch that went out, the start of the pitch that went out to some top tier media outlets. We said, hey, with the Democratic National Convention concluding last week, I'm writing this is just a story. This one was for Fox and Friends on the most viral 2016 convention moments in the rise of viral politics, which is a term, as far as we know, not a lot of people are using, but we created it. The new ability of candidates to create click-worthy and cringe-worthy campaign moments that spread like wildfire. Consider this. In 2016, Donald Trump generated 95% more social media posts, 14.6 million to 7.4 million, and 41% more mass media coverage, 3.3 million to 2.3 million than Hillary Clinton. Could this gap be caused by differences in how candidates go viral? Right? So what we've done there is we've said, okay, we can establish ourselves in the political world by having something unique that other people don't have that has value. It's like, and we can do this by looking at some of the monitoring tools we have. It took us about 10 minutes to actually calculate some of these things and use that as data that would be interesting for a mass media outlet to share. Okay? So we did that, and yeah, is there a question? Okay, sure. So we did that, and so here's the result. So there it is. There it is on Fox News about 1 week later, going viral, breaking down Trump's social media movement. And we did this for both, media outlets on the left side and the right side. You can kind of see there's a little different focus. Fox News focused a bit more on Trump. Other places focus more on Hillary. We're kind of equal opportunity in this. And then we started placing articles too. So there, New York Observer, how Donald Trump became America's first viral president. So this is actually continuing even on beyond this. So we're seeding this idea of viral marketing in politics. We're seeding this term of viral politics. And we're using the media to quickly establish expertise. Now, do we know what we're talking about? Absolutely. Do we need to establish that politics is our specialty if we're going to go into that field? We do. So we're able to use quick ways, and again, we didn't have to write a book. This took about a week to actually execute, and suddenly we're recognized. And we did that by having something that was unique and valuable that can be shared that wasn't particularly hard for us to do, but it did that just like the red paperclip. It expanded our expertise in little ways that already leveraged what we had done. Yeah?
So, you're a company, let's say, with an idea or a product.
Okay.
So I get, in this case, would you want to trademark that? Let's take coin and term. So let's take viral golf.
Okay, sure.
Pros and cons. So I would imagine in your kind of position, you might not want to trademark because you want that thing out, so you want everybody repeating it over and over and over.
Sure.
But in something where that is your intellectual property, would you, coin and term, would you want to trademark that?
You could, but what I would say is that sometimes its question is, what is the bigger threat for your field? Is the bigger threat that someone's going to take your term and use it and you're going to lose control of that intellectual property? Or is the bigger threat obscurity, which is no one knows about you, you own the term, but like you own the term like by yourself in a room, like locked away, right? So both are challenges, and certain fields where it's very competitive with other people, and there's patent trolls, and there's all of this in certain tech fields. I mean, absolutely, you kind of got to err on that side. But other fields, I think a lot of times people are so afraid to share the idea that they don't benefit from a lot of people using it. So the key with thought leadership is you want people to use it, but you want to do it in a way that connects back to you. And I think the second tip that we're going to get to on the second step is going to talk about how you do that specifically. Okay? So, question is, how many examples of your expertise does it take to claim a new thought leadership space? How many do you think? How many examples? So, okay, you want to go in there. Can someone yell out, what do you want to be a thought leader in? Someone yell it out. Is there something you want to be a thought leader in? What's that?
VR.
Okay, PR, okay.
Virtual reality.
Oh, VR, virtual reality, okay. There you go. Otherwise, we'll have to duke it out for PR thought leadership. What else? So VR. Education, okay. Anyone else?
Fitness.
Fitness, okay.
Artificial intelligence.
Okay, so all those things. So if you're going to claim that space, and you have to have some type of expertise to be a thought leader, how many examples do you think you need? Like, I'm actually looking for a number. You say 5 examples? I think 5. Okay, 5, yeah, we got 5. Okay, pretty good. Who else? Who says higher than 5?
3.
Okay, what do you say? How many?
I was thinking a lot.
Like 100?
Yeah.
1,000?
No, that
100. Okay, she's like, if you want to sell her today, it's tough. She needs 100 examples of your expert. Okay, Ali, yes.
One damn good one.
Yep.
Okay, one damn good one. Okay, I like that. I like that if it's like one damn good one. I could see that. What else? Anyone else? Yeah?
2 to make it plural.
2 to make it plural. Okay, so he likes the one damn good one, but he's like, I'm a little bit skeptical. I want to see if lightning strikes again. Okay, so let me give you our answer in running, hundreds, maybe even 1,000 of these kind of campaigns thus far. Our answer that we think applies to the most number of people, like whether you're super high at the 100 level or you're like the one damn good one down there. Here's the number that we think satisfies most people. 3. 3, and let me explain why it's a specific number. You're probably saying like, I don't know if I buy this. Like, I don't know. Is there an exact number to how many examples it takes to establish myself as a thought leader? Well, let me make the case for why I think there's an exact number. Okay? So, the rule of 3 for thought leadership. If you have one example of your expertise, your knowledge, your experience, your influence, one example of that, in our opinion, you're a fluke. Okay? Now, if it's a damn good one, Maybe it's so good that it's so fantastic that maybe just that one is good enough that could do it. I mean, that's possible. But one example, okay, it's like, it's a fluke, you got lucky. Okay, second example, it's a coincidence. Like, there's one-hit wonders out there for songs, but occasionally there's like two-hit wonders, right? So it's like two really good songs. And it's like, it could be a coincidence, but you know, two's pretty good. I feel pretty good about it. And finally, 3 is a trend. And a lot of how we verify information is built on the number 3. So, did anyone here go to journalism school? Okay, one person here. Did you remember how many sources did they tell you had to have in journalism school?
How many sources?
Yeah, it's like to corroborate a bit of information. It's like, and by the way, now we have a lot of problems with fake news and other things like that. So not everyone follows this, but do you remember what like the official line in journalism school and how many sources you had to have?
I want to say 2 or 3.
Okay, they said 3. They said 3. Why was it 3? They said 3 because it was a trend, right? It was like 1, oh, that person maybe has an opinion, you can't really verify it. 2, maybe we just got lucky. 2 people. 3, it's a trend, right? They taught you that in journalism school. If you go on a lot of, here's another example about the number 3. People's ability to retain information. How many things do you think you can remember from my presentation? How many things that you think, I'm saying the average person can remember from any given talk, presentation? What do you think the number is?
1, 3.
Okay, 3, right? They said once you hit 4, it gets harder for people to retain that information. So 3, it's like, so if you have 4 examples or 5 examples, or maybe you're like Ali and you have like, 27 damn good examples, guess what? They can remember 3. Okay? So you need 3 examples of your expertise. And that's why when you look for ways to expand upon things in small ways, you don't need a lot. And what we really recommend is people look and try to dial into a more specific area, right? So if you are interested in being a thought leader on education, yeah, we can be a thought leader in education. But let's look really specifically and let's look at maybe being a thought leader in how the nature of technology and homework and how that shifts. And let's dial that in for charter schools. So let's be a thought leader on the interaction between technology and homework for charter schools. It's incredibly specific. If you go in and do that, then there's usually not a lot of competition for thought leadership of that space. But then you make that first one, that's kind of example 1. And now you go in to another one. So now you say your second example in education is, I want to talk about the become the thought leader on the parent-school interaction. And parent-school interaction is related to the first part in terms of technology and homework and parents in school. So you go claim that one. Now we keep going for a third one. And what happens is you get those 3 different examples and suddenly you're thought of as an expert on all of education. Go claim those areas that people don't fight for, assemble them together, and that's faster than having to compete for the big area that everyone fights for. I was a thought leader on education and specifically paying for college, education and money, right? So I had that as an expertise, but then how do I then expand that and expand my thought leadership into all of personal finance? So we started looking for ways and topics that would connect the two. So an example is that if you're saving for college and you're putting money in the bank, your family to do so, oftentimes the choice is, do I save for college or do I save for retirement, right? So what we did as an organization, as me as a thought leader, said, okay, let's go do some thought leadership on that question. Do I save for college or do I save for retirement? Now, once I had claimed that space, right, that was like that little, the trade for the paperclip to the pen, suddenly I'm already talking about retirement. Now I can go further and be a thought leader just on retirement, not even talking about college. And once I'm a thought leader on retirement, now I can be all of budgeting. Now I can be all of personal finance. So if you can, look for ways that you can bridge 2 areas by finding a related area. And then once you claim that, you can claim more. And that's that like incremental trade philosophy. So let me give you an example of a statement about us and how the rule of 3 applies to that. So whether you're giving a speech or writing an article or a blog post or you're just networking at a party, being able to encapsulate your expertise and your idea quickly, oftentimes with examples or stories, using the rule of 3, is a great way to do that. So here's something that we like to communicate about ourselves, that PR Hacker is the top data-driven PR firm, right? Data is really important to us. We like measurement. We like testing. So how can we use the rule of three so that even if like, you know, we were to meet at a networking event or something like that, I could quickly establish that we're a thought leader on data-driven PR. So we might say 3 quick examples of that. So if we're saying PR Hacker is a top data-driven PR firm, you know, for example, we A/B test all our pitches. We often will write 8 versions of a pitch and A/B test them to see which one is most effective. And example 2, so we optimize the pitch time. So what we do is we actually measure and track what is the best time of day to pitch each media contact, and we know 4:32 a.m. on a Wednesday is the best time for this CNBC TV show. And 3, we measure the message score. So we actually know that, hey, 2 placements in the New York Times are not the same. One that is not shared at all doesn't have nearly the effect as one that's shared 1,000 times. So we embed our stories with viral components that enhance our message, and we track that score to know if our placement is more effective. Right? So I can explain that in like, you know, 30 seconds. I use 3 different data points as examples, and using the rule of 3, that's enough to say, okay, you're like, okay, I get. PR Hacker is a data-driven PR firm. Now, we do more than just 3, but now you said, okay, I get that they're an expert on this, and it's enough to claim the entire space. So as you establish your thought leadership, do you have a story? Example, anecdotes, usually 3, or one damn good one, but sometimes 3 helps to corroborate that, and that allows you to encapsulate your message really effectively so someone else can understand it. Any questions or thoughts on that? Okay. So.
Yes, that was awesome.
Okay, thank you.